Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
Courtney, how are you today?
Well, it's been a weird day. It's been a weird day, as they all seem to be lately. So, I got up this morning, and the past week or so, I've started feeling icky. How sometimes you feel like there's something in your house that doesn't belong there,
Yeah.
and like a being, not like a person, but like a being. And I was like, I just haven't slept in a while. And I was like, it's fine. And then I didn't sleep again last night, right?
Yeah.
And then I woke up and I was like, no, this feels like more than just like my brain. And so it no longer feels that way. But I was like, I don't know what's going on. Just kind of feels weird, like walking through my house. And so I was like, maybe there's some bad energy. Maybe I brought some bad energy home. Maybe someone next door brought bad energy and it just like trickled through since our houses are connected. I was like, who's to say? And so I did the thing they say to do, and that, ask them to leave and not to bother you and to wish them well and whatnot. I did all this. Maybe it's just because I was to a lot of ghost podcasts lately, but here
Yeah.
we are. So I did this whole thing and I was like, all right, we're doing I'm on my way out. You're coming out with me. Everything is going to be great. I get outside. I get in my car. I go to go. And my car feels weird. Like, what is happening? All of my tires, the tire pressure is 7 below where it's supposed to be.
No.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I wasn't crazy.
No.
This is real life. And I check my tire pressure pretty frequently, like way more than normal people because my sensors are out. And
Mm.
I'm also a paranoid person and my car's always got something going on. So I'm at least once a week I check my tire pressure. And so I was like, why does it sound like I have a flat tire? It was just really low. And so they were all 7 below. And I was like, it's supposed to swell in the summer. Like, it's supposed to have more in the summer as opposed to
Yeah.
less. And
That's
so, yeah, so it's very weird. And so my dad got me this air compressor off Temu for Christmas. And I was like, okay, let's give it a go. And so I filled up all my tires where they're supposed to be. Well, I filled them up, I actually filled them up one below where they're supposed to be because it's supposed to swell in summertime.
yeah.
And so I was like, I'm not playing any games. I'm not gonna blow out in the interstate. And because I don't know what energy I've brought to my car now that I've brought
Right.
out of my house. And been fine the rest of the day. I checked it before. I filled them up. I checked them all after I filled them up. I drove to work fine. I got to work. I checked them when I got to work. I went to work. I left work. I checked them. No change at all. And I was
That's
like, this is
yeah.
this is sus,
Like
right?
that's literally the beginning of a horror movie.
Right. So I was like, did someone release air from my tires? Like that's how, but it was 25 instead of 32. It wasn't if
Yeah,
they were
but
gonna let air in my tires, it would have been flat, you know?
yeah, no, but yeah, 25 is what happens that my tires don't even get that low in December here.
Right. Right. It's supposed to be 30 and 32. Well, it's supposed to be 30 and 33, I think, or something. And I do 29 and 31, 32 usually. Just for safety reasons. Because it gets so hot here.
Yeah. No.
Out of nowhere.
No.
So I do feel like this house has been cleansed. I do feel
Okay.
like my car has been cleansed.
Okay.
But I did feel like I was being paranoid until I got into my car and all of my tire pressure was an even amount down. And I
Yeah.
was like,
No.
I don't know that I was being as paranoid as I thought I was. So here's
Um,
to better energy
yeah.
for that.
Speaking of
How are
bad,
you?
I was like, speaking of bad energy, I am so stressed because for those of you who don't know and who actually all of you don't know because you will listen to this podcast significantly after I come back, but I'm leaving for my honeymoon in 5 days. Um, and I don't know if you pay attention to what's going on in the world, but last Wednesday there was a freak storm that flooded half of the country of France and killed people.
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, it was like raining so hard people couldn't see the Eiffel Tower standing in the plaza in front of the Eiffel Tower, and like a
Mm.
tree fell and killed a child. Like that bad of a rainstorm.
Oh.
That was last Wednesday. Today,
Mhm.
everything in Paris had to shut down like 8 hours early because it got to 102 degrees.
Uh-huh. And they don't really use air there, right? In a lot of
No, I
countries.
mean, they like some places do have air conditioning, but a lot of places don't. Like, but also like the top of the Eiffel Tower was like, it is too hot to have people up here on this metal structure. Like,
But
no
we've already
way.
talked about how the structure isn't great.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So
don't
like,
care.
yeah, so that's great. And I was like, okay, I'm just freaking out. I'm just hyperfixating, right? Except for, so my siblings are all in town because it is summer. It's about to be the 4th of July, holidays, fun, fun, fun. My brother was supposed to fly here at 6 o'clock on Friday evening. Um, my brother got here at noon on Sunday
The world is ending.
because first his flight was delayed. Um, and then they just kept not telling him what was wrong. They were like on the plane and they're like, we're delayed for weather. And then they were like, actually, there's a weird rubber smell coming from the plane. Everybody has to get off the plane. Um, yeah. And then they ended up going to the ticket agent and being like, can you rebook us for tomorrow? We're done with this shit. But then
We're not playing
their
your
plane
games.
did actually take off at 11 o'clock. So now their bags have already flown to a different city that they are not in.
Been there.
Um, then they wake up Saturday morning and their flight for 6 o'clock in the evening on Saturday was already canceled. So
What's going
they
on in Florida?
so they get a whole new airline. They say fuck it and just go with a whole new airline. And that flight also postponed, like delayed. So they didn't end up leaving Florida until like 1 a.m. And instead of flying Delta like they were supposed to, they flew United. So they had to go to Newark and then they weren't going to be able to leave Newark until like 8 a.m. But
Mhm.
then, because there were storms in Newark over the weekend, all of the flights were delayed, which meant all of the pilots hadn't had their like complete hour of like rest time. So his flight got delayed from Newark too, and he didn't end up taking off of Newark until like 10 o'clock in the morning. So it was just like an adventure.
You should
Then,
just bring a car or do it.
then today, Brianna flies in. Brianna gets to the airport and she has a notification that she can't just go to security because they need to age verify Layla because Layla's under 2, so she flies as a lap child, but they need age
Sure.
verification. So she goes to get in line. And for an hour, they see one person in this line. And at one point, she looks at the guy, like who's at like the self-check kiosk, and she goes, "My flight boards in 10 minutes." And he goes, "Yeah, you're gonna miss your flight. Just stay in line though, they'll rebook you." So then they put her on standby for another flight.
That's not
And
a rebooking.
it's not a rebooking. They put her on standby for a flight that's an hour later. She will still have time to get to her connection because so many flights fly from Houston to Dallas that it'll be fine. But so she gets through security, she gets to the gate. They get off of standby. Bree's name is on both tickets. Zara's name is not on the ticket. So she has to go back to the gate and have them reprint her tickets. So then she has to go through security. She finally does all of that. And they're like, you're not on standby, but you're in row 18 and Zara's in row 28. And Brie was like, she's 4 years old. And they were like, well,
Right.
that's just how standby works.
Jesus.
Luckily, there were enough people on standby and things worked out and people like moved with her and the gate agents like on the flight attendants on the flight helped her and got
Yeah.
Zara next
I
to
was gonna say,
her.
like, surely, like, they could switch them around.
Yeah, like
But
once they were on the plane, it was fine and the flight attendants like helped and she got the baby on the plane. Oh, and Gabby was visiting her in Texas last week, so Gabby also flew home over the weekend, and her flight was significantly less insane, but she did have a really crazy weather delay, also that she almost missed her connecting flight. But they delayed her connecting flight because 25 passengers on the connecting flight were all on her flight and not able to get onto the connecting flight, and that was a large enough number that they were like, "We'll hold."
Yeah, yeah, we'll wait.
And they were like, we're not missing two people, we're missing like 30."
Right, right.
Um, yeah, so all of them had all of this shit go down over the weekend flying. And I'm just like,
See, I will say, like, we're booking our flights for the cruise. I think, I don't know, Kirsten's doing something. And I'm like, book it the day before because worst comes to worst, if our flight gets dropped, we can drive to Miami. Like, it's not gonna be
which,
enjoyable, but we could, it was like 16 hours. Like, we could
right.
do it.
Yeah, I can't exactly drive to Brussels.
Right, right. That's why I'm like, it's a little different. And it's not, I
And
mean, you can't really drive from Houston to Buffalo either. Like, that's a long ass
it's a
drive.
long drive. Bree's done it before, but it's a
I
long
believe it,
drive.
but
And I think the only times she's done it, she's had Joffer with her. She's never
yeah.
done it by herself. Unless, did she do it by herself for the funeral? I don't remember. But anyway, luckily, my flights, both to Europe and back, are direct flights.
Oh, that's good.
I have no connections. I have direct flights from Toronto to Brussels and from Edinburgh to
Oh, I
Toronto.
was like, from Buffalo? I forgot you're
Oh,
flying out of
no,
Toronto.
I'm flying out of Toronto.
That makes way more sense. I forgot already.
Yeah, no, I'm flying out of Toronto and I'm flying like a red eye overnight direct to Brussels. So I'm like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And I just keep telling myself, I'll be fine.
Well, opposite of bad vibes, I meant to say this too before we started, and I totally forgot. Did you know that there's not a cult um that
The,
basically
the
believes in
cat.
Stargate?
Oh, I thought you meant that weird cafe that is a cult.
No, I listened to an episode about it the other day and then didn't hear any of the words they said, so I don't know anything about it. But no, I listened to Time's Up today, and he was covering. Do let's see. Let's see who he covered today. Da da da. I thought this was gonna be in my brain, and it's clearly not.
Yeah.
Time's Up. Time's Up with Dan Cummins, which is a very fun podcast to listen to if anybody's interested. It's very funny. He's a comedian. He does Scared to Death. The University of Cosmic Intelligence. Now they also believe, like in most conspiracy theories, like the lizard people and birds aren't real, etc., etc. And it's like started by this guy who's a rapper, and it's just like the wildest thing I've ever heard. But literally, one of the biggest plots is they're like rainbows aren't real, and I was like, okay, sure. And the other
Sure.
thing is that there's 12 stargates around the world, one being in Antarctica. Like it's literally the plot of Stargate, and he didn't even mention it in the podcast. He like is saying all of these things and never mentioned the TV show or movie.
These people are stupid.
And I was like, I don't understand. Like,
You
he does a
know,
lot of research. He does 3 hour episodes. Like, he does research. He learned that this is the plot of Stargate at some point in his research, even if he hadn't
must
seen
have.
it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it was mentioned, but
Um,
it was wild.
do you know what podcast I've been listening to a lot recently? Like I just like rediscovered it and then went in absolutely ham on it.
No, what is that?
How did this get made?
I've listened to like an episode of that.
Um,
But it's really funny.
I'm obsessed with Jason Mantzoukas. Like it is unreasonable how obsessed with Jason Mantzoukas I am.
It's so funny.
And listening to Jason Mantzoukas talk about every Fast and Furious movie is the reason I'm
See,
living right now. Like, so how did this
I
get
love
made?
that.
I'm like listening to episodes from 2014 because that's who I am, but I'm obsessed.
I love that.
Because apparently
I only listened to like their first episode.
I had apparently already subscribed to it, and then I had an issue. Remember when I had that issue and like my podcast app got deleted off my phone and I had to re-download everything? Well, when I got my new phone and I set it up, um, all of the my old subscriptions on my podcast app were still in there. Like it like rebooted to a different time that I logged into it. And I was like, oh. So I was like in my subscription list and I go, did I ever even listen to this? I had not. And
The
now
only one I've listened to was I think they did Old by M. Night Shyamalan when it came out. This was like
Mm,
5 years ago, not
yeah.
2014. But I think that's
Their
the only one I listened to.
their episode on Jack Frost, the Michael
The
Keaton.
animated?
No, the Michael Keaton movie where he dies and turns into a snowman.
Yes, I've definitely seen it, and I'm just
I
like,
have listened to other people's podcasts about how terrible that movie is, but this one is spectacular. But since everything in our lives is a little bit stressful other than podcasts, how can you help us?
sure, sure. Strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. I literally read this to myself 4 times. It was like,
Because
I'm not gonna say this word.
indomitable is one of the most difficult words to say.
It's so hard.
For no
And I
reason.
know how to say it.
Yeah.
Muhammad Gandhi. This is a Gandhi quote. But it comes from an indomitable will. I did. I tried so hard the first time.
It's okay. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Today, speaking of beautiful, we're talking about Stargate Atlantis, Season 1, Episode 3, Hide and Seek. It was rated 7.4 stars. And it came out on July 23rd, 2004, which is the exact same time or day as the previous episode of SG1 that we did, because again, like I said, they air back to back on the same channel on Friday nights. So there will be a lot of times where I don't have to talk about what happened on that day. See last episode.
See lessons.
This episode was directed by David Wary Smith, written by Brad Wright and Robert C. Cooper, but we have a story editor added to the team, Martin Garrow.
I thought you were about to say Martin Wood. Like it was
No,
somebody new.
no, well, this is somebody new. Martin Garrow, he's known for Keep Breathing, Blind Spot, and the LA Complex.
One of the podcast hosts I listened to used to write for Blind Spot.
Nice. He was born in Geneva, Switzerland, but grew up in Ottawa. He is married and has one child. He does a lot of producing and story editing, but I wrote no social media, but that's not true. He has an Instagram that has never posted anything. And I cannot find any information about him. But from what I can tell, he doesn't even do like he is known for screenwriting, but mostly he works with other people. Like he doesn't have a lot of credits that are just him screenwriting. He's mostly like a story editor or like teleplay kind of person. So
Gotcha.
and this episode was also edited by a new person. We have Jeremy Presner is our new editor. He is known for Stargate Atlantis, The Burial Society, and Trafficked with Mariana Van Zeller, which is a Nat Geographic documentary about child trafficking. And he actually was nominated for an Emmy for his editing of that Nat Geo special. He started in commercials as a small baby child because his family was poor and forced him to do them. That's literally what he said on his blog. And I couldn't really find a lot of information about him because I didn't have a ton of time to read, but I'm sure I could have because both he and his mom have a blog.
Amazing.
His mom's blog was like, my son was nominated for an Emmy last night.
That is the cutest thing.
Yeah, so if you want to find out any more about him, I'm sure you can find it on his mom's blog.
Excellent.
The star for this episode is Rainbow Sun Franks, who plays Lieutenant Aiden Ford. He is known for High Fidelity, Stargate Atlantis, and the Umbrella Academy.
Who does he play in Umbrella Academy?
I believe the character he plays in the Umbrella Academy is like part android. Like I don't think you see his face. It's like I believe it's a robot character.
I just realized I don't think I've watched it since 2020 anyway, so I probably wouldn't know.
Yeah, it is. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. I've never. Oh no, he does. You can see him, his face. He's not a robot. I've never watched the Umbrella Academy. I pretend I know what I'm talking about. I've never seen that show in my life.
I watched the first season and I really liked it, and then I fell off the face of the earth.
But he is his dad was a like Canadian actor musician named Don Franks, who I've never heard of, but was like famous in Canada, I guess.
I've
And
heard that
his
name. I don't know anything about him, but
and
I've heard that name.
his mother was a Plains-free African American dancer originally from California. And because of that, although he grew up in Canada, he was made an honorary member of the Red Pheasant Cree Nation, which is a Canadian First Nations tribe. Um, his sister is named Cree Summers, and she is the voice of Kida from Atlantis, the Lost Empire, and also Susie in all of the Rugrats TV shows.
Oh, that's so cute that she was in Atlantis and now she's in Atlantis.
Well,
Oh,
his
wait, no.
sister, no,
Who is
yeah,
she? His
his
sister.
his sister was the voice of
Got it.
Kida in
Gotcha.
Atlantis, and which we all know how I feel about Stargate and Atlantis: The Lost Empire actually just being the same story. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that is Rainbow Sun Franks.
I love that.
We start this episode with Rodney and Carson working in a lab, and Rodney is volunteering to be the first human in a gene therapy trial to have ancient DNA, which is so funny
He just
because
wants
you
it so bad.
specifically asked me if you could just like become ancient, and I was like, no, yeah. And
I'm
he
telling
started.
you, I'm so good at the plot of this show now. I can just tell you everything that's gonna
He's
happen.
starting to get cold feet, because he is chicken shit. Rodney is the biggest fucking baby scaredy cat of all time ever.
He's patient zero at this point,
Yeah.
aside from the mice.
But the other thing about this show is like SG1 has some really funny lines, but this show is just straight fucking hysterical. Like I laugh so much all of the time in this show. Um so then Carson basically just bullies Rodney into it and stabs him anyway. So he's now patient zero. Um We cut to Dr. Weir and Dr. Grodin, who are walking around. They're discussing the organization of the base, like what they need to do to make it more livable, living quarters, security, like all that like stuff that you have to do when you start up a new base. Um, and they are like what work needs to be done and who can do what, when all of a sudden they are interrupted by John pushing Rodney off of a balcony.
That was my favorite part. That was my favorite scene in the whole episode.
Um, And nothing happens to Rodney. He gets up and is jumping up and down and like yelling because the gene therapy worked and he now is using an ancient protective shield that he just found and put on because like a small child, Rodney touches everything.
Mhm.
Um my favorite is in the moment when Weir immediately questions the scientific validity of pushing someone off of a balcony, and they say, "Don't worry, that wasn't what we did first. I shot him."
Just tested all kinds of deadly, deadly things.
Um, Weir tells Brad he has to take off the device so that they can have their meeting, and he can't take it off because the shield is stopping him from physically touching himself, so he cannot touch the
Yep.
shield. And then we get the credits. Um, During the credits, Dan goes, "So how's he gonna eat?"
Correct.
Which made me mad because I hate when Dan figures this shit out so fast. It's so annoying. Because after the credits, there's Grodin and Carson and Rodney are in the infirmary and they're like celebrating the win of this gene therapy working when all of the doctors have the sudden realization that if Rodney can't touch himself, he also can't feed himself. He tries to drink coffee and it just pours down. I was like, this is how mine and Dan's brains are different because he was very worried about Rodney being able to feed himself. And I was worried because Rodney spent so much time talking about how hot the Athosian women are, and the fact that he can't touch himself means that he is not gonna be able to wank it to all these women who will never talk to him. And that's what I was worried about. And Dan was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I was worried about the coffee portion, which also seems to what Rodney was most worried about because he was like immediately like, I need
Chuck.
this in my body. He's like, here's coffee. This is the thing I need to test.
This
Which
is
feels like not the safest thing to test because hot
no,
coffee.
no, but
Same.
you know how there are like running jokes in SG1 about like Daniel, we always talk about Daniel like falling in love, or like there are things that
Mhm.
Jack says that like it feels like he says every episode. Rodney never stops being hungry. I swear to God. Even in his experience, even in the couple episodes he was in
Mhm.
SG1, he spent the entire time he was there
Yeah.
in the mess hall.
But isn't he? He's allergic to citrus, is that right?
He sure is.
Okay.
Sure is, which is funny because there is a character in the Fourth Wing books that is allergic to oranges, and what when they started talking about this character being allergic to oranges, I was like, what the fuck, Rodney?
Maybe it is. Maybe it's somebody who also loves Rodney.
Rodney's allergic to lemon in particular. He says all citrus, but it's lemon is really what
Mm, I
gets
see.
him.
I see.
But so he tries to think the device off, and it does not work. Um
Because he's thinking about coffee.
he's just
You
thinking
gotta be
that all
focused.
he's thinking about is how hungry he is.
Mm. He's gotta be focused. I get it. If I thought I could never eat or drink again, I would think of anything else. Then I'd
That's
die.
true.
So,
Which is his mindset for the entire rest of the episode. Every
mm,
time, every scene he's in for the rest of the episode, he does mention dying
right.
at least once.
I was like, I get it. I get it. I'd be the same way.
Um, while discussing the security of the base, so they're up and now they're in their meeting, all the heads, Taylor suggests that the Athosians can help with the security. But Weir and Shepard kind of turn that down. And but they do it in a very reasonable way. Like
Yeah.
they're like, it's not that we don't trust you, we want your help, we want you, but A, we don't know all of your people. And B, we could say, yes, sure, great, join the security, but you've never seen our weapons. You don't know how to use a walkie-talkie. Like, you would need to be trained in our security protocols for it to be helpful for you to be on the security team.
Mhm.
Um, then we go to Carson and Weir believes that Rodney's subconscious fear of the city is more powerful than his hunger, and that he is actually able to get rid of the shield. He just can't because he's more scared.
Yeah.
Um, and that when things do get dire, when he actually is so hungry and thirsty that he is dying, it might just disable on its own because everything else seems to have fail safes. Um, Then we go back to the team and they're setting up the self-destruct system, which we know how that works. The double coded self-destruct. It's the same thing we have in SG1. But they're still leaving Taylor in the dark because while they all agree that they trust her, they still haven't figured out how the Wraith found them when they were with the Athosians, and there may be a leak in the Athosian people, which Taylor doesn't believe is possible. So they need to like suss out everyone else who is there first before they fully
See,
integrate them.
well, I can see obviously that's fair. That's a fair thought to have.
Yeah.
Why is your first thought not they found them because we disturbed the energy levels? And that's usually what sets off those kind of like trackers or whatever.
I don't think that that is not on the table. I think they just want to make sure that that's what it was. Like, you know what I
Okay, I
mean?
see.
Because it could, okay, they come in, they disturb the energy levels, great.
Hmm.
They're the problem. However, they were there for like a full day before this happened. So it wasn't like oh, the energy level spiked 10 minutes later. Like it was now the next day when the
Well,
wraith
maybe it
came.
takes time to travel.
Right. So but so they have to eliminate all of the possibilities before they figure out what it actually is.
Or it could be like Voldemort, where when you say their name, it summons them, and the kids
Okay, well
were
then yeah,
joking
it's like well
around.
then Jinto is the fucking cause of all the problems.
Right. Yes, correct. Was.
um So Shepard is trying to tell all of the children scary stories at bedtime. He is telling them the story of Jason and Friday the 13th. However, they don't know what hockey masks are or like really any of the things that are important to understand the
Really takes
story.
away from the fear level.
He's like, they're scary. And then he's like, um, hockey is not even a man's sport anyway. Football's where it's really at.
But don't tell Rodney.
But don't tell Rodney because he's Canadian and they take that thing they take it seriously, which is actually a two-sided joke. Because one, Rodney obviously doesn't care about sports really, except for that he's Canadian. But two, Jack O'Neill is obsessed with hockey. Like that's the first thing he teaches Teal'c about outside of like war in on Earth is hockey. So it's a joke that we're separating John from Jack because John's not an old fuddy-duddy who likes hockey. Oh,
No, of course not. He loves football.
specifically college football, which he did say in the first
And
episode.
Ferris wheels.
On Ferris wheels, yes.
Mhm.
So then we have a quick scene where Jinto and his dad are in bed, and Jinto's like, "Are we safe?" And Holling basically is like, "No promises."
This
Which,
is the kind of like this feels like the kind of type of people that like they're more like warrior-esque. So it's like we're not gonna lie to our kids. We're not gonna
yeah,
like they have to learn because they have to grow and be able to fight it. So like
which is exactly what is actually happening, but it also almost sets it up like Holling is the sus one because he's like, "I don't know."
see, I never got that. I think he's a good guy.
I do too. Do you recognize him?
No.
Because we haven't talked about this yet, but Holling is the earlier in SG1 in the episode where they were trapped in that village where the implant on the side of their face was changing their memory every day. The scientist who worked with Sam who finally figured it out and like broke it, that's the same actor. Chris and I said at that time when I talked about Chris Heyerdahl, I said he's a much bigger part in um Atlantis. Um Then we go to team bonding. John is introducing Taylor to the concept of football, and they're watching Doug Flutie's Hail Mary college football game for Boston.
But he
Doug,
was Bills, right?
he sure was.
Okay.
And Dan got really excited that Flutie is who John's obsessed with, and I was like, as you should. Um,
He's like y'all's biggest player other than OJ, right?
mm, no, Jim Kelly was our
Oh,
quarter.
yeah. I always forget about Jim Kelly.
Yeah, Jim Kelly. But when Flutie was on our team in when was he on the Bills? At some point when I was alive, but I'm not smart. No, I don't want. I clicked on the wrong thing and I somehow ended up on the Patriots Wikipedia. He played for the Bills
That's
from
the worst place to be.
yeah, he played for the Bills from 98 to 2000. So he was a good quarterback for us, but in an era when the Bills weren't good.
Uh-huh.
So that,
Sure.
but yeah. So, but no, Jim Kelly, OJ Simpson, Doug Flutie. Um, those are, and well, and then obviously the guys we have now.
Sure.
But
But like as far as like quote unquote legends go,
yeah,
those are the ones I would think of.
yeah. I mean, and then there's other ones like that are like legends within the Bills, like Andre Reed and Bruce Smith and Thomas Thurman, but like if you're not like a hardcore football person, you don't know those names as much. But Jim Kelly, Doug Flutie, and O.J. Simpson would be the three that you would know, even if you just casually know football.
Yeah.
But so he's showing her these tapes, and he and Ford are all about this team in college football and how great of a game that was and how great Doug Flutie is. And Taylor's trying really hard to understand why this is great and why they're so excited and what a Hail Mary is supposed to refer to. And Weir comes along and asks the same question that I had just asked Dan before. While I paused it to take notes, I go, it's just really funny to me that of all the things he could have brought on this trip with him, he brought a tape of a single game and a way to play said tape. And
Yeah.
then, which gets confirmed because Weir says, this was your choice for your one personal item. You get one personal item and you brought a college football game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then we go back to Jinto, and he and his friend are sneaking out of bed to play Wraiths and Soldiers, like cops and robbers, as they run around the bed.
It's very cute.
But things get kind of creepy. And then Holling wakes John up because Jinto's missing. So John starts to get teams together. They all start to search the base. The whole base looks for them, but then the power on the base starts to get real weird. Cameras and sensors start to go haywire. The gate starts to dial on its own. Everything's getting really weird. And so Taylor starts bringing people in, and the Athosians are saying that they saw a shadow. And so they think that the Wraith are somehow on Atlantis.
Right.
But Taylor, once again, thank you, my love. Can you just turn the light on for me quick? Oops. And brought me dinner. But Taylor doesn't sense the Wraith. And this is something that comes up again and again, that Taylor can like feel in her gut when they're there. And she's like, they're not here. She's like, but my people also aren't lying.
Right.
And Weir is like kind of wary about that, which Taylor then assumes that means that she thinks that the people are lying. And we're like, it's not that we think that they're lying, it's just that we think that they might not know everything there is to know in the world, and what they see might actually not be what they think it is. That doesn't mean that they're lying.
If this is your big bad that you've always known, and especially like as like yeah, like she's a kid, like especially as kids, like this is your one evil. It's like if I said everything I thought in my house was a demon because something went wrong. Like
Right.
that is it's a very generalized statement. And it's like it may not be, but I understand that that's what you like associate with bad things.
Yeah,
So you may not know that there's another bad thing or
exactly.
a not bad thing that has similar characteristics. Like
Right, exactly. And like Weir's like, we've seen some shit. We know that that is not all there is in the world. Um, so they Weir calls everybody back. They decide to regroup. Instead of treating this as a missing kid, they're going to treat it as there's a threat on base. They're going to take the Athosians at their word and figure out what's going on. So before they all go out, Holling decides to speak through the base comms, and he tells Jinto that they will find him. And then he starts saying a prayer to the ancients, basically, and it's like, we inhabited your space. If you're angry that we're here, we'll leave, but I'm not leaving without my son. Like, please just show me where he is. And then all of a sudden, all of the lights go off and Rodney faints. Oops. Um, Rodney's okay, except for that he really does not like the term fainting.
absolutely not.
Um, but as John is leaving the sick bay, he sees a weird shadow and he follows it, and it turns into like basically the smoke monster from Lost, eating the Naquadah generator.
Do you know that I have not seen, but the first season of Lost? But it's on my list of shows I really want to binge watch one day when I have time. And I will do
I
it.
I binge watched it as a freshman in college, and I watched it every day after our classes while I was dating David. We would have nap dates and we would watch an episode of Lost and then take a nap.
Caitlin watched it our freshman year of college too. And she watched it all the time. Like when we had our rest times during like band camp, that's when
Yeah.
she would watch it. Her and
Yeah.
Jamie watched it.
But I just thought you would appreciate the hilarious image of me having nap dates with David.
That totally tracks though. There's nothing that tracks less.
Right.
So
Um
I mean I used to have like well, I had nap dates with Austin, but we weren't dating. We would just like come home after school and go take a nap.
No, we were like sharing my little twin bed in my dorm room.
Yeah, like lunatics. Yeah.
Okay, unrelated, but real quick, if he ever listens to this podcast, I'm sorry. But did you know he met the Pope, the old Pope before the Pope died?
No.
He and his wife went to the Vatican and had their marriage blessed by Pope Benedict. Or Pope Francis. That one,
That's
yeah, Pope
so
Francis.
wild.
So wild. She started posting
Do
after the Pope died, like she started posting pictures, and I was like,
that
David
is
met the
so
Pope. Okay.
similar side note. There's a popular TikTok right now about a girl who found out her mom may have slept with the
Oh my God,
regular
the
Pope.
current Pope.
Yes.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that.
I may have
That.
sent it to you, or you may have sent it to me. I
Oh,
don't know.
maybe, but what you somebody, but she was like her mom's ex-boyfriend is now the Pope.
Yeah. How wild is that? I wish my mom had a fun story like that. My parents sucked.
My parents were high school sweethearts. They don't have fun stories. They really like barely dated anyone but each other.
My own parents dated, but not seriously.
Right. Like they'd have like
Well, I think my dad was engaged, but briefly. Like, but like they got married when my mom was 20. So like
yeah.
when like a long period of time after high school that they, you know.
Yeah, but y'all are also from like the middle of nowhere, the South, so like getting engaged before you're 20 is not as weird as it would be for my parents.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think the biggest claim to fame is my dad played football against Tim McGraw. Like,
Nice.
because they went to like rival schools or something.
My my current biggest claim to fame is that hold on, I gotta check if it happened
Oh, I
yet.
definitely have bigger claim to fame now, but they're my own, not my
Right,
parents.
no. Um American ambassadors, that's what I'm looking for. This is a weird thing. Um Current US ambassadors. Um my cousin is the well, I'm trying to figure out it last I checked that it hadn't gone through the Senate yet, so that's why I'm like I don't know if this is true, but the my cousin, like my dad's cousin, is the was the nominee who has been not like who is going to become the ambassador to the Czech Republic.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. The last I checked, he was had his Senate hearing committee thing. But yeah. So my cousin is the ambassador to Czechia.
Amazing. I
And
love
my
that.
and my ex had his marriage blessed by the Pope.
Oh, okay. I need to get my marriage blessed by the Pope. I got time.
I mean, there's still time.
Yeah.
You're
It
right.
would be pretty dope to like have a marriage blessed by a Pope who's like a Chicago
Right.
White
Wait,
Sox
that's
fan that
right.
love hot dogs.
The first American Pope, I'll have him bless my marriage.
Yeah, too late. I guess you could still be
I could
blessed
still go have him
after
blessed. Like I'm not.
marriage.
Yeah, he wasn't at their
Yeah, I
wedding.
guess
He
that's
just.
true. I want him at my wedding.
You what?
I want him
I want.
to.
I want the Pope at my wedding.
Yeah, but spoiler alert, I don't want him like leading the wedding.
You're
What
like
is the word?
I don't want him to officiate or
Yeah,
like
I don't want him to officiate. I just want him to like stop by, hang out.
Um, now that we've lost all sense of this episode, oh, so John comes back and says that the wraith is the shadow that they're seeing is not a wraith, and he's like, but I understand why they thought that. Like I saw it, I get it, I totally feel it, feel you. They're not lying, but that's definitely not what it is. This is something different. He's like, it's basically like darkness come to life.
Which sounds terrifying. Like,
Terrifying. And even it looked terrifying.
yeah.
And they're like, but it feeds on energy. So they start to devise a game plan when suddenly Jinto calls to them through the base comms and it's like, I went in a closet and now I'm here and I don't know where I am.
Bless his heart. So
So
stressed.
they follow his tracks and they move to like a different entire sector of the city. Um, and they're like, JJ, you have to show us everything that you touched, which turns out is everything because he is a child.
Everything.
Grodin finds a way to track the entity. But the when he sends Lieutenant Ford to like go check on this entity and find it, basically the base itself like will not let them in. Doors start closing. They have no control over it. Ford tries to escape the entity, but it attacks him. And it basically makes it so that it seems like he was struck by lightning, based on the amount of electrical energy that is in his body. Um, in the weird closet room that they found, Rodney has discovered that the smoke monster is basically part of a research project that was looking to create ascension.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which makes sense because this is basically if you look at the way that the like the light from like Daniel and Oma moved when they were ascended,
Mhm.
this is like the evil version of that.
Yeah.
Um, and so they're trying to figure out how to recontain it. And then we have a really sweet scene where Jinto goes to apologize to Ford and says that if he hadn't like touched things, then Ford wouldn't have gotten hurt. And Ford's like, okay, but like if we hadn't come to your planet, the Wraith wouldn't have found you.
Right.
Like
Like we
we're
also almost killed you.
yeah, like this is what happens like when you're trying to find new things, but like you don't blame each other, you just move on and everything's okay.
Mhm.
Um, then Rodney discovers how to make the cage work. So they find a cage, this little box, they find a cage, and it's what can contain this smoke monster, and he figures out how to work, but someone's gonna have to physically stand there and press the buttons. And John's like, I'll do it. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
John is the king of just like putting himself in really stupidly dangerous situations because he doesn't give a
Sure.
shit. Um,
Sure.
and Weir is like, wait, but like Rodney, you have this thing on, like you're protected, you have your shield, like you have this magic shield, you're the least at risk of any of us. You should do it. And then imagine that suddenly it falls off.
That's amazing. I love it.
Um, so then Jinto says he's scared to fall asleep, and Taylor says that the darkness is also afraid of things, and they all start setting up candles and like trying to have hope. And we go to Weir and Grodin, who are trying to like get everything set up, and turns out McKay failed to mention that this device will only work on him because it imprints on people. So
Oh,
the
that's some
shield,
kind of like Twilight nonsense.
right? The shield doesn't work on anyone else. That's why when he tried to show that it was dead by sticking it on John, it meant nothing. Um,
Mhm. But
so
did we know that it imprinted?
he did. He
He
discovered it
did.
when
We
he
did.
did. Yeah, we
Okay.
did not, but he did because he discovered it when they were trying to read more about it to understand how to take it off.
Got it.
Um, so they set everything up. They turn off all the power in the whole base except for in the room where Shepard is, and he opens the cage and calls the darkness to the cage. But then the creature just says, "Nah, fam," and turns around and leaves.
Yeah. He's like, after all of this, you think you're gonna turn the lights off? And that's what's gonna get me?
No.
I've been
Um,
around too many times.
so Taylor suggests opening the gate and letting the creature leave. Like she was like, "Here's our options: we leave or we get it to leave."
Right. Which is, yeah, fair.
Yeah. So they dial out to like a barren wasteland planet, and they set up the anaconda generator and they send it on the Melp. But Melps move very slow. And the entity like surrounds it and starts feeding off the Melp's energy before it can leave. And between the Melp and the gate, it is now like at an all-you-can-eat buffet, getting stronger and stronger. So Rodney does the admirable, brave thing, and he puts the protective shield back on and he goes into the middle and chucks the battery through the gate so that the darkness will follow it. Um, and then he faints again, but don't worry, they don't use the word faint this time because he's a hero.
Right.
And his shield is depleted, it's broken. The thing ate all the energy out of it, so now there's no more super strong protective shield, but otherwise Rodney is perfectly okay.
So now he doesn't. I want you to know, I thought for sure he was about to go through the Stargate like the guy in the last episode did, and I was like, we are not replaying the scene. Like this is ridiculous.
Which is so funny because if you remember last week when you asked about like a teaser for this week, I said that my teaser was that you're gonna watch the same episode. Because
Did you say that?
yeah. I said everything you're gonna see you've already seen.
Mm,
Because basically the plot of season of episode 3 of SG1 and episode 3 of Atlantis they're like in universe different. Like one is this energy monster, one is
sure.
Anubis's ghost, blah blah blah. But it's the same story. There's something hidden on the base that they can't control that is like giving weird POV camera shots. They open the gate and send it to a barren planet to destroy
Hmm.
it. It's the same plot, and these episodes aired on the same day.
That's one terrible, terrible planning.
Terrible.
This was done better.
And this one was done better, 100%. This one was done better. It's so funny to me.
It's
Uh,
so wild.
it's so funny to me because like I remember being like, but those episodes are in not only are they the same episode, they're on the same day. That was a
Yeah.
choice. That was a fucking choice. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts, theories?
Well, this is a better Atlantis to end on for our break than our SG1 break. Um, I probably still won't remember it. That's fine. We'll have to
Yeah.
rediscuss. I guess I'm done not liking Rodney. I'm done being annoyed at him. So that was over quickly. I love Holloway. What's his name? Holl
Hulling.
Howling. Love him. I think he's the best. And Taylor, oh my gosh. Between Taylor and Mir, like, we've got some strong feminine energy. And like,
Mm-hmm.
if nothing else so far with these three episodes, men are way more emotional than women. Like, come on. Have you watched Atlantis? Like,
Listen. between between Shepard and his obsession with like football and being a macho man and Rodney and his desperate desire to be John, the
and
men are
not faint.
so unstable.
Oh my gosh, these men. I'm the drama. I can't wait. I know we're gonna get something crazy with them. They're gonna be unhinged, but our strong, stable forces seem to be Ware and Taylor, and like I'm here for it. I
Mhm.
like them both
Yep.
quite a lot. So, um, I'm ready. And
So
I think Taylor was right that like I don't know. Well, I mean, obviously we know what happened now, and there's always potential for someone to be the leak on the
yeah,
base. I get that. But I think Taylor's right. Like I don't think it's someone in her team,
yeah.
or at least not right now. Like it may come up later, and I think she would call them out if it was someone on her team. Like
Mhm.
I think she would suss it out because she can feel like they were saying they're like we see things that look like the Wraith, and she's like, I feel it. It's not the Wraith. Like so I think she would have those similar type feelings with like
Yeah.
people in her team. Um, yeah.
So if you guys are watching this and trying to follow along with us, we
Good
posted
luck.
on Instagram. It is a pinned post, so no matter when you're watching this episode, you'll find it. The list of the order of our episodes. Um, and it does get a little tricky. Like sometimes it'll be two of the same show back to back instead of just flipping back and forth. There are a couple episodes that aired in an order that was different than what they were written to be aired, and so there gets some tricky stuff in there. So I will just at the end of every Sci-Fi Sunday, I will make sure to let you guys know for sure what episode we are watching next week. Um, Courtney and I are taking a summer break because of my honeymoon and the bar exam. So for us, it'll be about 6 weeks before we talk about this. But for you guys, it'll be next
We'll see you
Sunday.
next week.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
So next week we will be watching Stargate SG1 season 8 episode 4, which is called 0 Hour. And my little spoiler teaser, which Courtney will not remember 6 weeks from now, is that this episode is gonna give us some big bad energy.
Oh, I love a big bad energy. Yeah,
Yeah,
unless
so
it's in my house, then I don't.
then I don't love it. Yeah, no, no.
Yeah,
So do you have any thoughts or theories about where things are going? I mean, I know
I mean,
you love the women, you love everything
I
there,
love the
but
women. I Rodney is gonna try something else to be ancient-esque. Um, I think that I could see John and Taylor having a little fling. They're either gonna have a fling or they're the Sam and Jack Willie thing. Like I don't know which way we're gonna go, but I can see it between them. Um, and um, I don't know. Gento's probably gonna do something cool because he's a kid, but like he seems to be in the middle of everything. So I imagine we'll get something from him. And I don't anticipate this all like next episode, but like the scheme of upcoming Atlantis, because I don't have a lot to go on. Um, so these are kind of my thoughts.
okay. That is totally fine. Um, sorry, I'm still trying to figure out how to react to the Shepard and Taylor thing.
Does it not happen? Does it happen? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I mean, I guess you could love or hate it even if it does or doesn't happen.
Yeah, see, that is not
You don't,
who, I don't feel it.
that's not who you ship. Oh.
No.
Are you shipping Holloway and Taylor? Because that would be my alternative.
Oh, no. The,
Huh.
no, I wasn't about who I ship with Taylor. It's about who I ship with John.
Oh. Are you trying to ship Ware with John? Because that would be the opposite of Sam and Jack. And
Yeah, that's,
I don't like that.
um, you know who else doesn't like that? Tori Higginson. Tori Higginson, who plays Dr. Weir, was like, fans have told me about some of the fanfic that they've written about like John and Weir like sneaking into closets and having sex, and it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, I'm not here for that one. Like, I don't know. I don't think I
It,
could see her with
it's
anyone.
also it's
Unless
also
she's with Taylor.
it's
I could see
also
that.
only been 3 episodes. We don't really
Right. So
know
I'm just
anything
like
about these.
wildly speculating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, also, I people online are weird and they ship everyone with everyone. There are like people who
sure.
write stories about Shepard and McKay
Yeah,
as
I
a
mean, you
ship.
search it, it's there.
Yeah,
So,
nope, we're good. I don't ever want to see that. As much as
yeah,
I
I
love
don't
both
see
Joe
it.
Flanagan and David Hewlett to an unreasonable amount, not a Shepard McKay shipper ever.
Yeah.
Um, who do you want to punch?
Hmm. Oh, I didn't hate anyone. Um, other than the weird shadow thing, but that doesn't feel quite right. So I guess this maybe this is me. But I think I'm gonna punch Jinto just for like wandering off and like starting stuff and like
So
I get that
valid.
he's a child, but
So valid.
look.
I am going to punch Rodney.
Oh,
Listen, I love Rodney and he did the right thing in the end, but he did the right thing to be the hero.
sure.
Um, and
Fair.
then immediately started being douchey again. I love Rodney.
Yeah.
I love his energy, love his attitude, but also sometimes I'm gonna punch him in the face.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Who is your MVP?
I think I'm gonna go with Halling. Did I say his name right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just love him and he's just good. Like that's
Yeah.
all he is just good. And
Hmm.
he's doing the best for his kids and trying to do the best for his like tribe and I don't know what they call a tribe. Is that how you refer to this group of people? I don't really know.
Yeah.
This group of
I
people.
don't know. Taylor always just says my people.
Well, he is always trying to be there for his people and like even though he's hurt, he's like wanting to do the best and I just
Hmm.
love him.
I am going to pick Ford. Um, because he really like is trying to help the Oceans understand that they're all in the same boat together
Mhm.
and that they're the same people, even though they're different people. So
Yeah, that's something they gotta nip that in the butt. They gotta like get it together because they are
mhm.
all on this place forever together. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not forever. Eventually they probably leave or something, or somebody does, or
Yeah.
someone dies at least. But like they are all in this together. They have no choice. Like
Mhm.
it's like if I lived in a house with someone and was like, I might kill you in your sleep, but you're never gonna know. Like, I don't know. It's just
Me to Doug.
which is fair and valid. Fair and valid. But you know,
We never lived in the same house ever.
I know. I know. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what you're speaking of.
Yeah, so if you have any thoughts or theories or questions or would like to share who you ship on the show, please email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com or follow us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And we will see you on Thursday to talk about the movie Hannibal.
It's gonna be fun.
Bye.